is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about my adventures with Superman. So, if you haven't seen it, My Adventures with Superman is a brand new animated Superman show, and it is absolutely fantastic, and it is every Dungeon Master content, and there is one powerful message, one powerful element from My Adventures with Superman that will fit perfectly into your Dungeons & Dragons campaign or your next Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and that is brightness. Alright, so first of all, spoilers for My Adventures with Superman. The first 2 episodes are up. I have watched the first 2 episodes, and I absolutely love it. It is so fun and so wonderful and so fresh and so new and so bright. B-R-I-G-H-T. This, and not just, and not just bright and joyful. I love this new show. It is absolutely fantastic, and it does. And so let's talk about all the awesome things that it does that you can bring right over into your Dungeons & Dragons campaign. So the first and foremost is it is bright and delightful, right? So it is bright and joyful, bright and joyful, bright and joyful. And when it comes to the DC Cinematic Universe, this is so rare. I actually enjoyed Superman and Lois, the new live-action series, and it is not bright and joyful. Every other shot is just filled with darkness. They're in the middle of Kansas, right? Like, Kansas is a beautiful wheat-covered state, and it's the sun should be out. People should be smiling, and you should be able to see the red, white, and blue of Superman. You can in My Adventures with Superman. My Adventures with Superman is delightful. It is Superman as a college-age person with Lois as a college-age person. It is, and it deals with their coming together for the first time, at the Daily Globe. But when I say bright, I mean literally bright. The thing is like every single scene. You could see the color of people's shoes. Every single scene is in brilliantly lit rooms or is under direct sunlight, and there is just so much light in this show. And it shouldn't matter. Like, it should be like, oh, you're just saying it's a bright show? You don't know it until you see it. When you realize how much of our art is covered in drab, gray, dark settings, right? And this thing is literally bright. It's just filled with light. And it's so joyful. And when I say joyful, I mean joyful. One of the things is this has abandoned canon to an inserted joy where joy was missing, right? So my wife was mom watched this show. She just kind of walked through the room a couple times, while it was on, and she's like, "Did you catch that?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Did you notice that Lois Lane actually likes Clark Kent?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, Lois Lane likes Superman." She said, "No, you missed it. Lois Lane likes Clark Kent." She's like, "Oh, look at that dude. He's 6'2". He has great hair and blue eyes." And she's attracted not to Superman. She's attracted to Clark Kent, right? And you're like, holy cows, that's right. And that has never been the case in any Superman show ever. It's always like Lois Lane is, like in the Christopher Reeves, the Christopher Reeves Lois Lane, the Lois Lane in those movies, she literally smoked cigarettes and like, "What's up, Clark? You're a stupid farm boy." Right? Like, it's like just, and she was just so like condescending and mean toward him. And then when you realize it, you're like, oh yeah, Lois Lane is always faster and cooler, and I don't like you, farm seed, and you're like, holy cows, what's wrong with Clark? He's 6'2", he's nice, he's honest, he's got blue eyes. Like, why does Lois hate him in every version of Superman and Lois, right? Like, and you're like, wow, and this one is just filled with joy, and it's joyful from start to finish. It actually very closely adheres to alignment. Good, neutral, evil, right? Just a brilliant, beautiful, joyful, bright show, right? And it shows we can do this in Dungeons & Dragons, right? And so, yes, Descent to Avernus, two different cities are descending into hell, right? Like, but so few of our, keys from the Golden Vault, we're in murky areas and we're stealing stuff, So few D&D adventures are bright and joyful, and this show shows you can do an amazing story, and you can overwrite old, crusty, dusty, dark legacy with a bright I think we are starting to see this in D&D 5e art. It is filling the pages with more light, more brightness, more joy. And I am just, this show shows exactly, perfectly how to create a joyful, light, bright story, right? And you have to watch this and then immediately start thinking, are you going to put one joyful, bright location in your current campaign, or are you going to make your next campaign full of light and joy and brightness? It is such and the show shows exactly how to do it, how to write the story, how to get it done. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.